All right. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and pull down the volume all the way. And welcome to the Old Newbies Lair, where we talk about VR in a business sense. Now, today we're just going to jump right into it. I've got a video that I want to review, and I actually mentioned this video in my last stream, located somewhere here at the top. And it's from the Wall Street Journal, and they're going to discuss one of the applications that's for VR for business, and just a little something to kind of whet your appetite and get your brain moving on how businesses can use VR and to increase their productivity. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and queue up that stream real quick and get you guys able to see my screen in 3, 2, 1. All right, there you are. Let's go ahead and get started.
Hey, it's me. Yeah, Joanna Stern. You didn't recognize me? You know, like my new look? But really, that's me. Well, this is me. This is real life me, and that's Avatar.
All right, we're probably going to skip through a lot of this stuff. The video's kind of campy, but that they have to keep it interesting. They have to make it humorous so that people can just kind of get over the technology. This is, again, Wall Street Journal is a business publication, so when it comes to technology, they need to make it interesting so folks can actually follow along. I'm going to cut through a lot of the campiness and the silliness and kind of get to the nuggets so we can stay on track.
Avatar virtual reality me. But actually, I'm getting a little. When COVID-19 first hit and we all went into lockdown, video calling brought us together. It was even fun. But now the Zoom fatigue is real. I rarely even look at my colleagues anymore.
So this is an important point. She brings up kind of the limitations of 2D teleconferencing that we have right now, especially with the lockdown. People are turning on their computers. They're going into 2D webcams and having these meetings through things like Zoom and Teams, but there are limitations. And so, like she said, the fatigue kind of sets in when you're just sitting there staring at a 2D screen.
So I've turned to virtual reality. And as it turns out, an increasing number of Fortune 500 companies are embracing this technology too.
Okay, that was the biggest bullet in this video right there. An increasing amount of Fortune 500 companies are turning to VR for the capability that VR provides over 2D video conferencing. That's it right there. So if there's anything that you take away from this video, that's it. More Fortune 500 companies are using VR. So once again, justified.
It makes sense, as companies have extended work from home policies until late 2021, or even indefinitely. They're looking at ways to bring individuals and teams together. Plus, even before the pandemic, virtual reality used within businesses was forecasted to grow from $829 million in 2018 to $4.26 billion in 2023.
Okay, that was the stat from my previous video in the link. And the numbers matter. I mean, you can see there, once again, the increase in revenue projected for VR in business as opposed to the gaming where it stagnated. But she said something else very interesting about how with the lockdowns, more and more companies are looking for other ways. And what they found is that users and their employees can actually stay home and don't have to commute into the office. But on the flip side, you have this limited capability of web conferencing that's not giving them what they need. However, VR bridges that gap, and it bridges it through presence.
So, a few months ago, when it became apparent we weren't going back to the office anytime soon, I started trying it out for myself. I had a lot of questions. Can virtual interaction really mimic the real world? What do you need to make it all work? Can you really be productive in there?
And that is the number one question that businesses want to know about VR. And if you are going to market VR to a corporation, that's the number one question you need to answer. Can they stay productive in VR? And we'll see. Take a look at this.
Oh boy. To test it all out, I worked with a startup out of New York City called Spatial to recreate one of my favorite places in the office.
Yes, the elevator.
All right, we're going to skip through
Spoiler,
this.
it's not a.
Are you?
I'm a holographic avatar of Anand Agarwala, the CEO of Spatial.
Well, nice to meet you. Can we shake hands?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, look at that. We don't even need 6 feet.
We can even high five.
Wow.
All right, we'll skip that.
Like him as like a real person, but his presence feels very real.
But of course,
Okay, I wanted to get that one part right there. Presence. That is the tiebreaker. That's the nugget that will win VR, win the day for VR. Presence. She said it right there. His avatar was there. It didn't quite look like him, but his presence made it feel like she was there with him. And that's what VR brings to the table. And it's hard to explain it. And that's one of the challenges with marketing in VR. No video trailer can show you how VR works. No 2D video, nobody explaining it. The only way that you can really understand presence in VR is to actually experience it. And that's kind of the downside, at least in a marketing perspective, on the challenge that VR has to overcome in expanding into the business market is how do you explain presence and how do you show a company that they can be productive in VR? And presence is that thing that you actually have to get a corporation or an organization to experience.
Anand is in his office in New York City, and I'm in my childhood basement in New Jersey. My producer, also in a headset, in his home in Brooklyn. Connecting in Spatial was really quite easy, and anyone can do it. I signed up for a Spatial account on the company's website and uploaded a photo of myself. Using some machine learning, it turned that into my avatar. Then I downloaded this.
Okay, I just wanted to point that out. She kind of glossed over it with just a quick sentence, but machine learning is another huge technology that's taking off in businesses. They're using it to analyze all types of data. In this, it was just a picture, but in the data center and the voluminous amounts of data that's out there, machine learning is a huge tool. But just and it's obviously utilized by VR as well. So I just wanted to make a note about that. But all that is to say that VR is incorporates all of these technologies, the connectivity, 5G, which we'll talk about in another video about some of the advantages that VR takes with 5G and some of it that it doesn't. But all these technologies can be utilized by VR.
Spatial app on this new $299 Oculus Quest 2. It works on the older one too. It also works on a Microsoft HoloLens augmented reality headset. Oh, which, just costs $3,500.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, there's so much content out there because that's another video that I want to talk about, the devices that are being used. What you saw here were probably the front runners for business that'll be using VR and those particular headsets. Oculus and Facebook, which I talked about in previous videos, they're making a full foray into the corporate sector in VR, handing out headsets. They got the old Oculus out there. They got the new Quest 2 out there for businesses. And as they said earlier in this video, an increasing amount in Fortune 500 companies are starting to use VR. Facebook are the prime company that are making the investment into business and supplying Oculus Quest 2s out there. You saw a Microsoft HoloLens, which has been out previously. However, the price per those headsets, make it cost prohibitive, or at least not I won't say cost prohibitive, not for a company, but it doesn't make it cost advantageous for companies to have this high price headset. You're not going to be able to get that out to multiple employees. But with a low cost headset like the Quest 2, utilizing higher levels of technology, that's going to win the day for business. And there are also other headsets that are starting to come out that we'll talk about in later videos too, like the HP Reverb. Lots of stuff happening in the VR space right now, and we're at the forefront, so stay with me.
You don't need any extra hardware with those headsets. All the head and hand tracking just works. When I move my head, so does my avatars. When I move my hands, so does my avatars.
And that's another thing that businesses need to hear. The technology just works.
Then you can join one of the spaces Spatial makes. The company made this custom elevator for me, but the preset Spatial meeting rooms are being used by all sorts.
Percent of the Fortune 1000 to
that's the point I want to talk
using
about.
Spatial, what types of companies?
anywhere from 40% of the Fortune 1000 to just regular small teams and people trying to stay connected. So
there's a good nugget right there that you don't hear about a lot now, but he said 40% of the Fortune 1000 companies are using VR for collaboration and productivity. That's a stat that you don't hear about, but it's huge. 40% of the Fortune 1000 using VR or starting to utilize VR and the technology and the advantages that it brings in a virtual space is, that's just indicative of the climate that's moving toward VR.
some of the customers are like Pfizer, Mattel, a manufacturing company, also companies in fashion, government agencies, intelligence agencies.
What about the spaces themselves?
He just rattled off a whole different bunch of organizations that are using VR, and it goes across the board from government all the way down to toy companies utilizing VR to gain advantages in productivity and collaboration.
Are people customizing them to look like their real office spaces?
Yeah, so that's been a huge feature request. We've added a couple more environments like a boardroom.
Skip on a little
Like
bit.
3D dogs.
I have a real dog that's much cuter than all.
For real though, the chief technology officer at Mattel told me employees use Spatial to meet up and review 3D models of toys and store displays. Of course.
Okay, I just wanted to comment on that thing because that was pretty cool. Mattel utilizing VR. Now, just imagine this scenario where they're in lockdown. They've got organizations on the East Coast and organizations on the West Coast. They're about to launch a new toy product and they need to collaborate on this particular launch. They can bring those teams together in VR, have them present in a VR space, have the product there virtually, and then be able to manipulate the product in 3D, move it around, actually almost physically see the product, and then have all of their marketing material there that they're able to see, and essentially be present virtually and have something that is so close to them actually being physically present, but in a virtual space, and they're able to collaborate, and I would say do even more than they can in real life, because in VR you can manipulate the objects to monstrous sizes. You can be in any particular location. Imagine them doing product launches and having virtual representations of the different areas, the different market areas that they're planning to launch the product in. Again, possibilities are endless in VR. Let's keep going.
Of course, Spatial isn't perfect, and certainly misses a lot of things about a true person-to-person office conversation or elevator ride. For instance, facial cues and even body language. Like when I asked,
You've built something pretty cool here. Has any big company tried to come and buy Spatial?
phone and Android apps let you join in augmented reality. That is where VR is far more immersive. Spatial isn't the only virtual meeting platform. Another
Okay, I think we'll probably end it right there because they just kind of go on. She did mention some things about the downsides of VR, and a lot of those things have to do with the social aspects of it, the non-tangible stuff of not being able to read cues of the other person. Although VR is technology is getting a whole lot better. Like within the headset, they have eye tracking technology. As you can see right now, I'm talking and my VR avatar's mouth is moving because the microphone is detecting it and it's sending a signal to my avatar to actually move the mouth. But this is very rudimentary. There's far more higher level technology that can do that with eye tracking and emotions and being able to represent that in a virtual avatar. All right, so I don't want to get copyright struck, so I had to chop that one up. But as you can see there, those were the highlights there, and the Wall Street Journal is covering it. And like I said, they're a business publication. They're not a technology publication, so they have to kind of make it a little bit entertaining in order to get the professionals that read Wall Street Journal or subscribe to their content to be able to look at this particular amount of kind of technology content. But what they're doing though is letting those business professionals know that this technology is coming and it's coming in a big way. 40% of the Fortune 1000 companies are moving to VR. That's a huge stat right there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and end it right there. And thank you for joining me. And once again, VR is coming for business. I feel a whole lot, I feel vindicated because there's a whole lot more content like this out there, a whole lot more indicators telling us that VR is coming and it's coming for business. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and cue up the music and get ready to play me out of here.